The Ashkenaz Festival, North America's largest celebration of Jewish music, arts, and culture, is happening at venues across Toronto from August 27th to September 2nd. Witness diverse musical expressions of the Jewish experience, from klezmer and Yiddish styles to Sephardic, Mizrahi, Falasha music, and much more. Go to ashkenaz.ca for venue and ticket information.
My hijab. My brother's driving. Okay. You freaking hit me in the face. A kid? Hitting a kid? And you're talking about me killing them? Hold on a second. Look what they did to our car. All right, let's get back, please. Please, let's get back. Hassan, come here. Kids, I've never seen adults acting more younger than 12 years. You threw an old man under the bus.
That's what it sounded like Sunday afternoon on a street corner in a heavily Jewish neighborhood of Toronto. It was near the shopping plaza at the corner of Bathurst and Sheppard Avenue West. It's where a weekly Jewish organized rally takes place in support of the Israeli hostages and the State of Israel. It's been going on for 46 weeks. But this past weekend, violence happened when an 88-year-old Jewish man who was carrying an Israeli flag was attacked by a young woman who got out of a passing car that had stopped at the intersection. Not only did she snatch the flag from his hands, witnesses say, but then she punches him repeatedly, then picked him up and slammed him to the pavement, where he lay bleeding and bruised with his head just centimetres from the huge wheels of a Toronto city bus. As other participants in the weekly rally rushed to help the man, others confronted the attacker. It was a bit of a melee. Toronto police arrested and charged 3 people in the incident, the attacker, and 2 people who are part of the weekly Jewish Solidarity rally. Police haven't released details yet, no names, nothing about what they were charged with, but the Toronto Police Hate Crimes Unit is involved. Meanwhile, the elderly victim was taken to hospital and treated. Police say his injuries were non-life-threatening. The incident has shocked the organizers, who fear the man could have been killed.
And while I lectured everybody after this, it's very hard to explain what are we supposed to do? Did you see what she did to this man? If he would have fallen on his head, we'd be, God forbid, talking about something very different today.
I'm Ellen Besner, and this is what Jewish Canada sounds like for Tuesday, August the 20th, 2024. Welcome to the CJN Daily, a podcast of the Canadian Jewish News.
Y'all remember that joke from Airplane? The old lady asked for some light reading.
How about this leaflet, famous Jewish sports legends?
But in actuality, that's changing. Jews are crushing it in sports around the world, and we are here to celebrate them.
Sandy Koufax gets his 10th strikeout.
Zach Hyman, his first career hat trick. 41 points for Diddy Avdia. It's Sue Bird's building.
I'm Gabe.
And I'm Jamie.
We love Jews and we love sports, but most of all, we love kvelling over Jews in sports.
Together we host Menschwarmers, the longest running Jewish sports podcast in the world. Listen and subscribe at thecjn.ca and wherever you find your podcasts.
Here's what we know about the victim. He's 88, his name is Joel, and he works as a crossing guard at an elementary school in Thornhill called Brownridge. His family has posted on Facebook that he's home from the hospital now with cuts and bruises, but emotional trauma from what happened to him. The man has been a regular fixture at these weekly rallies for Israel, except for the 3 weeks he missed because he was in Israel volunteering. He's been receiving flowers and gift baskets sent from concerned members of the community. The attack has disturbed organizer Gidi Mammon, a Toronto lawyer who's head of the Toronto Zionist Council. He's always advised his people never to engage with counter-protesters, no matter who comes to provoke. After what's happened, he says he won't stop the rallies because they bring hope and energy to the Toronto Jewish community during these dark times, but he will be reviewing security needs going forward. Gidi Mammon joins us now from Toronto to tell us what happened Sunday and what happens next.
Thank you for having me.
We have seen the video of this horrible confrontation outside on the Sunday. Can you walk us through what you saw, what happened?
We've been holding a rally since October the 13th, the Friday right after October 7th, which was declared as a day of rage or whatever. And our community leaders were telling people to be careful where they go and they walk, and they maybe shouldn't wear a Magen David, maybe they shouldn't wear a kippah, maybe they shouldn't leave a mezuzah out on the front door. And me and a couple of people decided to go to Bathurst and Sheppard, at 8 o'clock in the morning on that day of rage, in order to show our community that we are not afraid, that we will continue to proudly demonstrate as Jews and demonstrate as supporters of Israel. And on that day, we saw how many people were in pain. We saw people driving by with tears in their eyes when they saw us with the Israeli flag. And now we have been there every single Sunday since October the 13th, in the winter, in the summer, in the fall, in the cold, in the rain, in the blazing heat, without fail, to stand by our supporters, by our soldiers, and by the hostages and their families and loved ones. Now, the gentleman that you're talking about is a regular at our rally. Many, many people who come to our rally come every single week. And this gentleman is in his mid-80s. He was there as usual, and in fact, he was supposed to go to a family event on that day, and he chose not to do that. He said he told his family that he cannot come because it coincides with the rally, and that he's going to be there at the rally. He has to go. So to now answer your question, what happened? What did I see? All I saw one of our regulars running towards the intersection. My job is to lead the rally and focus on the traffic and focus on people, and I saw somebody running. So I looked at him. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "There's something going on at the corner." And I ran after him to see what's going on, and there was some sort of a scuffle. What I had been told by other witnesses, which I consider very reliable, but I didn't see it myself, two of our participants said that a black car came south on Bathurst, and as they approached us, the driver came visibly closer to the curb. The passenger side person rolled down the window and grabbed the flag from this older gentleman. And other people saw this and raced to protect him and to get the flag back. I have told everybody at the rally not to engage. I have told everybody that there are going to be people who are going to taunt you. I've been saying that for 46 weeks, and we've had 45 weeks without incident. And so in this situation, things got out of hand. I tried to get everybody off of the street. You can see me in the video over there in my back trying to get people off the street. But the level of anxiety, seeing a man of that age having an Israeli flag pulled from his hand and then picked up and thrown down onto concrete right next to a bus was too much for some people to handle. And they confronted the driver and the passengers, and a scuffle broke out, and that's what it is. It's obvious that in Canada, like many other countries, it's very, very difficult to stand out in public and support Israel and to be proud of Israel, and not just Israel, to be proud of our soldiers, to be proud of our hostages and beg for their return and demand their return. Is very unpopular. And every single week for 45 weeks, we've been given the finger. We've had terrible things screamed at us from cars, and we ignore it. We've made it very clear. We are not here to persuade anybody that we are right and that they are wrong. We will never persuade them that this is our land, and they will never persuade us that this is their land. So we have a policy of non-engagement. And for 45 weeks, we held true to that. And I don't think there is a rally anywhere in the country that can do that, that can say that. There was one demonstration up at Aisha Torah in Thornhill. There was violence there. One out of one violence. They had another one at the Bite. One out of one, there was violence and arrests.
And all those charges were dropped against the Jewish people.
That's fine. That's true. And maybe they will be here as well.
Not the one with the nail gun, but the other two at the Bite, they were dropped.
We don't allow any negative any negative or any provocative speech. People who show up with inappropriate signs are told they have to put the sign away or they cannot stay. If they carry flags that are not appropriate, we tell them that could trigger violence. We're not interested. And that's why we have seniors, we have women, we have children, we have rabbis from Chabad, we have all kinds of people who come, they put film, they do all kinds of things peacefully for 45 weeks. And so yesterday was a total aberration, but I have to tell you, I am fiercely proud of our record. I am fiercely proud of our volunteers and our ralliers and our organizers and our fans. We have all kinds of dignitaries who come by from, our Solicitor General of Ontario, Michael Kersner, who was there almost every week. We've had Melissa Lunsman. We've had everybody, James Pasternak, many, many people who come frequently. So I'm very proud. However, the reality is, there is a lot of hate out there. And what you saw on that video is a young woman of 17, so indoctrinated with hate that she would virtually, literally pick up a man of, I think, 87, 88 years old, pick him up and throw him down in the middle of the street, right next to a bus. Why? Because he was carrying a flag, an Israeli flag, and he wanted it back. He had the temerity to want it back. And this is what happened. And as much as I would love to have a peaceful rally, actually, I would rather have no rally, because I would rather say the hostages are home and our soldiers are out of harm's way. But if we're going to have a rally, I would prefer that every single one is peaceful. But you know what? It's not just the Palestinians anymore. It's not just the pro-Palestinians, those who claim that they were kicked off their land. No, it's regular Canadians also who have bought into the lies and who bought into this hatred. And unfortunately, even on Bathurst and Sheppard, the heart of the Jewish community, we can't escape it. We didn't go to Mississauga. We didn't go to Brampton. We didn't go looking for trouble. All we want to do is to speak to our own people and elevate them and to give them pride and confidence and hope.
That corner used to have a police command post beginning since October. Is it there every weekend for your rallies? Has it gone away? What are the challenges now that you're facing? Because I don't think it's there anymore, and maybe that would have helped things.
So first of all, we have had police presence almost from the very beginning. The first rally was 3 people for half an hour, but within a couple of weeks, it grew to a dozen and a couple of dozen. And from, let's say, a few weeks after the rally started, we had police presence every single week. And if I had to complain, I would say we had too much police presence, because I said, you know what, we're okay, we're doing fine, we're not having problems. People who are driving by and swearing at us and giving us terrible gestures, we ignore them. There was a command station there for, I think, at least a couple of months, and we have an amazing rapport with the police. On this particular incident, I must tell you, while there was, I think, maybe at least 10 police officers there at the rally, which is not unknown for us. It's just a regular Sunday, nothing unusual about it. I don't know that they were close enough to the action to do anything, because I was in the middle of the road for a couple of minutes trying to do something. There was a huge commotion, and I didn't see a uniformed officer for a long time. I'm not blaming anybody. I don't know what they were up to. Maybe they were having a coffee, but they were not at the corner when this erupted. And in fairness to the police, there was a big fat bus obstructing their view. They were to the west in the plaza. There was the bus, and then there was the scuffle in the middle of the road behind the bus. So I don't know what they saw, but we did everything we could to get people off the street. But when you see a Jewish man in his 80s knocked to the ground, lying completely injured, with his head inches from the back wheels of a bus, there is a sense of urgency and passion that you cannot fathom, especially when you see the same man standing there in the rain and the cold with you every single week. It's very, very hard to contain those kinds of emotions. Thank God.
This reminds me of that poor gentleman in, I think it was California, that was given a clock to the head, remember, early on in October, and he died.
You know, when we're there, Ellen, and for me especially, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know that I have drawn these people to Bathurst and Sheppard to rally. And I know there's risks. I know there's people with hate. And so constantly while I'm screaming, into the microphone, my eye is darting in every single direction, trying to make sure people are away from the curb. People are away from anyone who's going to start, I look in the cars to see what they have hanging off their front mirror. But it's impossible to catch everyone. I had no idea that right behind me, somebody was coming close to the curb and rolling down their window for that specific reason. And there was no reason to do that.
There's been no other charges in 45 weeks, anything like this, right?
Nothing of the sort.
Okay,
Nothing of the sort. It's an unbelievable record that today, in one of the most hate-filled periods, most anti-Semitic periods, most anti-Israel periods of Canadian history, that we had 45 weekly rallies. They know exactly where we're going to be every single week. And people told me, they said, you know what? After 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to know that we're going to be here, and you're going to have problems. And we've had no problems because we're not confronting anyone.
So how do people feel? Like, you've obviously been talking to the group since this happened. How has this impacted them, and what are the plans for this weekend?
Well, we are going to figure out where we go from here in terms of security and in terms of our relationship with the police and what we're going to be asking the police to do for us. No one is talking about stopping or suspending. Absolutely not. There is no discussion whatsoever of that. I think, you have to always look at the bright side of things. I'm not happy this happened, but now that it's happened, people understand exactly what we've been saying for 46 weeks. Do not engage. If they want to steal a flag, I don't like seeing an Israeli flag being disrespected. I don't like seeing a man being ripped, having a flag ripped from his hands. But for $20 that the flag costs us, if I could have spent $20 and not have any of this happen, it would have been easier. But
how is he now? How is he doing? I know he went to the hospital.
He's at home. He's at home. We get little donations every week from people, and so we have a little budget. So we sent some flowers to the home this morning, blue and white, of course, and with a little bit of dash of yellow to symbolize our hostages. And the campaign to get them released. And we told them, you have to be crazy not to think about, what we're going to do for security next week and the week after and how things move forward. But we told them that we don't have any plans to change what we're doing. And I'm not so sure, Ellen, that would be a great idea to change, because when somebody intimidates you, you don't want to give up your freedoms. We came to Canada. My family didn't come to Canada to escape, the threats and the dangers of Morocco, to come to another country where, as Jews and as pro-Israel advocates, we have to hide again. We're not into that. And I think it's important that we always have the ability to remain in our own community, to express that we are Jewish, that we are supportive of Israel in our own community, and send out positive messaging. If we cannot do that, then what is the value of our lives here? What is the value of life in Canada if we can't do that? So the message has to be that we're going to press on. We're going to have to reassess the kind of security. I already told the officer that I spoke to today that it would be a good idea to keep a car visibly and a uniformed police officer visibly right on the sidewalk throughout the 2-hour period. They just were not there when this incident broke out.
One last thing, is there a GoFundMe, or is there something this man needs?
I have not heard of anything like that. I think he's okay. He's got a beautiful, loving family. I think he's going to be okay. He had some terrible, terrible bruises and scratches, and he was bleeding on his legs and his arms. But we called ambulance immediately, and he was taken care of very well, and he was discharged from hospital. I think, God willing, he'll be okay.
Did you get that flag back?
No, it's broken. It was actually, you could see it on the ground. Somebody picked it up not to desecrate an Israeli flag or any flag. So somebody picked it up, but it was broken, and it's fine. It's we have lots of flags. I'm not crying for a flag, but obviously, I would never, God forbid, do something like that. Go up to somebody who's holding a Palestinian flag and grab it from their hand. That's just not who we are.
Thank you very much for being on the CJN Daily.
My pleasure, Alan.
That's what Jewish Canada sounds like for this episode of the CJN Daily. Special thanks to Kareem Assad for the audio and photo of the incident. The CJN Daily is produced by Zachary Judah Kaufman. Our executive producer is Michael Freeman, and the music was composed by Dov Beck-Levine. Now, Toronto police tell the CJN they're still working on the case. That's why they can't release any information yet, although they're aware there is a great deal of public interest in this incident, unquote. The Toronto Weekly Pro-Israel Rally is one of several across the country that happen. There's one in Vancouver each week. It's called Bring Them Home Now. And there's one in Montreal's Hampstead Park. Thanks for listening.
The Ashkenaz Festival, North America's largest celebration of Jewish music, arts, and culture, is happening at venues across Toronto from August 27th to September 2nd. Witness diverse musical expressions of the Jewish experience, from klezmer and Yiddish styles to Sephardic, Mizrahi, Falasha music, and much more. Go to ashkenaz.ca for venue and ticket information.